get started. Thank you so much for joining. I see a few questions in the chat. You can also use the Q&A, which I'll have open. It's a little bit easier for me to track questions as we continue to go. So welcome to our Intro to Coding webinar. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to see some brand new and some familiar faces. I'm going to go over a few reminders, and then we're going to get started. So today's event will be recorded. It's being recorded now. Like our other events, attendee mics and cameras are turned off for privacy and security reasons, but we can definitely communicate in the chat and in the Q&A. A friendly reminder that the chat is meant for positive and supportive messages only. We are here to support one another and have fun and play around with code. There's no such thing as silly questions. Ask them all. I'm sure we have heard them before, and we probably wondered them ourselves. Please do not share any personal information on the chat, and this webinar will end just before or around 5 p.m. EST. And last but not least, if you are on social media, feel free to take any snaps, put them on, and use our hashtag I'm a Hackergal or Je suis une Hackergal. And now I'm going to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about our schedule. I'll start with the schedule, just to stick with my slides here. So we're going to do a short welcome and introduction. Then behind the scenes, Naya, one of our Hackergal ambassadors, is going to do her project demo, and she's going to teach you about coding pages, buttons, and clip art. And she's going to pass the virtual stage back to me, and we'll learn about text and turtles. And then we will have time for live questions. So we can use the Q&A, or maybe we'll be able to play around with the mic a little bit. We will see, no promises. So thank you so much. And I've started this webinar without even introducing myself, so I'm going to slip that slide and go to this one first. I am Kumiko. I am the Director of Education, and I've been with Hackergal for 3 years. I see many people that I've coded with before, and behind the scenes, Naya, please turn on your mic and your camera and say hello to everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. My name's Naya. I'm a Hackergal ambassador. I'm in grade 10. The school that I attend is Runnymede Collegiate Institute. And another fact I want to share with you guys is that I'm new to coding. I only started getting serious about it over the summertime. So with that being said, I hope that you feel a little bit more comfortable with me, knowing that I was where you were at like 3 months ago.
Amazing. Thanks, Naya. I'm just going to go over the slide here that I missed, and then I know you're going to go through your project. So these are the 5 things or 5 main bullets of what we're going to learn today. So you'll hopefully be able to do all of this at the end. Name and save your project and get help on links using the tools. Add pages and buttons and make your own procedure. Add clip art, change the turtle shape, and add text to your pages. And if we have time, if all goes to plan, we'll also use turtles as buttons so you can have your own custom images in your work. And that's a wrap for me for a little bit, and I'll stop my sharing, Naya, so you can get set up, and I'll let you know when I can see your screen.
Okay, so just to clarify, I'm going to be sharing my screen to show you guys my project that I made over the summertime. So this is my first ever project on Links. It's called Tiny Tournament Battle for the Bedroom. It's a quiz game where your goal is to click on the tasks, and you know something is a task when it looks messy. So you click on the tasks and answer a question to clean your room. So I'm just going to do a quick little playthrough through the game just to show you guys how it works and all my code. So you're going to hit start game, and it's not going to work. Hold on. Give it a second. My computer's kind of slow. So it's going to take you to an instructions page. I already went over this, so I'm just going to skip by it. Next, you're going to get taken to the main page /bedroom. And like I said, you're going to click on something that looks messy, so like this pile of clothes. Now, you can either hit back and the room will look just as it did before, or you could hit take quiz and it will ask you a simple question like how many provinces are in Canada. The answer is 10, by the way. Then you're going to type the answer in here. You're going to hit OK. The announcement will say you have successfully defeated your opponent. You're gonna hit OK again, and bam, the clothes go from on the floor into the closet. You're gonna do it again. What's 12 times 6? The answer is 72. Okay. You have successfully defeated your opponent. Okay. Garbage goes from on the floor into the bin. Lastly, how many colors are in the rainbow? 7. You have successfully defeated your opponent. Okay. Books are now stacked. So when you've completed all 3 tasks, it will take you to a congratulations page, which just thanks you for playing my game. Next is a meet the developer page, which just tells you more about myself. This is the page that I use to credit all of my clip art. These gray boxes are all buttons, and when you click them, it will take you to the link where I use my clip art. You're gonna hit play again, and it will take you back to the title page. I just want to say that I know this project may look intimidating to a few of you, but like I said, I was a beginner like 3 months ago, and I actually sat in a webinar similar to one like this. So with that being said, I promise that after this hour you're with us, this whole project will make total sense to you, and you'll be able to do exactly this. With that being said, it's not working. I have too many tabs open. Do this the long way. With that being said, let us get started. The first thing I kind of want to do is show you guys the lay of the land. So I'm going to start with project naming. To name your project, you're going to go to the top banner up here. You're going to click it. You're going to X out my project. You can really name it anything.
I'm just going to pause you for 1 second. Sorry. I can see your game still. We can't see your new screen yet.
Oh, I might have shared my, sorry. I think
yeah, that's okay. You can always just stop sharing and resharing. This happens to me all the time. No worries. So Naya is going to pull up a brand new page, and Lucy will put in the chat the link to this website. So if you want to code at the same time, we're going to give you some time after each part so you can code on your own. So I'll just let Naya get set up. Feel free to open linkscoding.club and follow along with us, or wait till the little break, and then you'll have some coding time and some jazz music. Okay, I'll go behind the scenes. Good work, Naya.
Can you see my screen now?
Yep, I can see it. And can you just double check if you're on the biggest font by clicking the setting? You are, right? I'm always training. Awesome. Okay, see you later.
Okay, as I was saying before, sorry about that. To name your project, you're going to go to the top banner up here. You're going to click the part where it says my project. You're going to X that out, and you can really name it anything that you want, but for simplistic reasons, I'm just going to put my name and then project. So it's going to look like this. Cool, now that we've got that, we're going to talk about saving. This cloud with the arrow facing up is the save button. Please, 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 please remember to save your work. It's so important. My advice would be not waiting until the end to save your work, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know when a power outage is going to happen or your laptop suddenly dies. So it's best that you at least get some of your work down rather than nothing. So luckily for you, Links has a nice reminder of when you should save your work. And that reminder is this little red dot. If you see this red dot beside the cloud, it's basically like saying, hey, save your work. So all you're going to do to save is just click the cloud, and if it will work, and your work is saved. You know that it's saved because the red dot is gone. The next thing I'm going to introduce to you guys is the tooltip. So the tooltip is really cool because it has autocomplete and hover over feature. Basically what that means is, so if I want to type the set shape command, I'm going to begin typing, and as you can see, before I finish the word, it appears right here. This can save you a lot of time and can just make sure that you spelt it right and all of that. Next, the hover over feature. So when I put my cursor over the word, it shows the definition and some examples at the bottom. So it says set shape sets the shape of the turtle, and some examples at the bottom are set shape 1, set shape cat, etc. This is great for maybe if you ever forget what a command means, or let's say you have a tiny little bug, you can easily hover over the command and be like, oh, I forgot to add the bracket. It's a lot easier and faster than the help widget, which is actually what I'm going to get into next. So this little box at the bottom that says help is the help widget. And while we wait for it to load, I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about it. So the help widget is a really useful resource for when maybe you have an idea that you don't quite know how to execute. So it's all in here, but you don't quite know how to get it onto there. So to use the help widget, you're going to go into the search bar and you're going to type in whatever it is you want to know. So let's say I want to delete my turtle. I'm going to go delete, and it will give me a list of options of what I might want, if it will load. And so it says deleting or removing turtles. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to click it. It's going to give me very simple, easy to read instructions. If it will load again. Sorry, the screen share makes it a little bit slow, but just bear with me. Okay, so it's going to say right click on the turtle you want to delete. A dialog box will open for that turtle. This right here is the dialog box. Click on the trash can in the bottom left corner and your turtle will be deleted. Trash can, and that's it. The turtle's gone. I'm actually going to bring my turtle back because there's another way. Okay, again, bear with me. So as you guys can see, the instructions were very easy to follow. They're only one sentence. It beats searching up on Google and finding this long, super complicated explanation. So again, delete, deleting or removing turtles. It says in the command center, type remove T1 and hit enter. And again, turtle's gone. So the last thing I want to show you guys in our sort of getting started unit is the undo feature, which you just saw me use. So the undo feature is great to save your butt in case you make any tiny little mistakes. It's very, very quick, easy, and save you a lot of time from having to redo the whole entire process, which can sometimes be very long, annoying, tedious, any other synonym for annoying. And so again, let's say I accidentally delete my turtle. I can easily bring it back by hitting undo. Okay, so now that we've wrapped up sort of our getting started unit, we're going to now look into pages and buttons and more coding. So to add a page to your work area, you're going to go to the plus button and you're going to click it. You're going to go down, down, down to page, and you're going to click that. And now that's it. There's a new page. You know that it's a new page because at the top, beside the name of your project, it should say page 2. Well, this page will say page 1. And these arrows at the top are here to help you navigate between pages. And although it's easy for you now to just click between the arrows to get to your 2 pages, when you have like 30 or something pages, you are not going to want to spam through the arrow just to get to that one page you want. When instead, you can make a button do that. So to add a button to your work area, you're going to go back to your trusty plus button, and you're going to go down, down to button. And this right here is your button. To change the size of your button, you're going to just drag the corner. To rename your button, you're going to right click, and the part where it says label, you're going to X out nothing. And again, you can really name it anything that you want, but I'm just going to name it next page because that's what I want this button to do. So before we work on making our button go to a new page, there's a keyword that we need to know, and that word is procedure. So a procedure is a set of instructions that you give to the computer to tell it what you want it to do. To make a procedure that runs this button, the first things that I like to do is start off with to and end. These are sort of the fundamentals for any procedure that you have. You always need these two or it will not work. To basically is telling the computer what to do, and end just ends the instruction. So beside to, what you're going to do now is name your procedure. It's best to try and keep it short just because it's easier for you. But if you want it to be something like more than one word, That's totally cool. And I know it might be tempting to, let's say if we put go to next page, it might be tempting to do something like this. No, go to page, go to next. Yeah, wait, sorry, I can't spell. Go to next page. It might be tempting to have spaces because, well, that's regular English, but in links, you're not allowed to have spaces. So instead, to substitute for the spaces, you need to have underscores. So it should look something like this. Now that we've named our procedure, we're going to hit enter, and under 2, we're going to put the page that we want to go to. So since we're on page 2, let's go back to page 1. So over here, we're going to write page 1. And now that we have our procedure done, we're not quite done yet because we still need to connect it to the button. To connect it to the button, you're going to right click and you're going to hit on click. You're going to look for the name of your procedure. You're going to click it and hit apply. And now when I click this button, it should take me to the next page. Woo! Next page. It looks less exciting because it's empty, but again, you know it's a new page because now it says page 1 at the top. Okay, so now we're gonna pause the lesson and I'm gonna give you guys a little 2-minute break just to sort of play around with everything I've taught you so far. The chat is always open for questions. Kumiko and I will be behind the scenes to answer them.
Perfect. Thanks, Naya. I'm going to play some music. If there's anything you want myself or Naya to repeat, we're happy to. Let us know how it's going on your end, and I'll play music at the same time. We'll give you some coding time until about 4:20, and then we'll jump back on. Let me know, Bronwyn, if you got your turtle deleted. Okay, Naya, if you're willing to come back up, we could quickly show how to delete the turtle again if you would like to demonstrate, or I can do it for you.
Yeah, I could do it. So there's 2 ways to delete your turtle. Just remove this. One way is to right click on the turtle you want to delete. And then this is a dialog box. In the bottom left corner, you'll see a trash can. If you click that, your turtle will disappear. And if I bring my turtle back, another way you can delete it is in the command center. You can type remove T1 and hit enter, and your turtle will also delete.
Awesome. And you want to just show how to add it back just in case?
Yeah, okay.
Over deleted.
So to add your turtle back, you're going to go to the trusty plus button. And at the top where it says turtle, you're just going to click on that and a turtle will appear on your work area.
Amazing. Awesome. So we'll maybe give you 1 more minute and then we will continue on. Thanks, Naya. Okay, perfect. If you have any other questions, put them in the chat. Naya's going to keep going along so we can add some more fun things to our project.
Right, so speaking of fun things, we're actually on, in my opinion, one of the most fun things in links, which is clip art. So I'm going to be talking to you guys now all about clip art. First of all, to add sample clip art, what you're going to do is go to our trusty plus button. You're going to go down, down, down to sample clip art. You're going to click it, and there's a bunch of different options that you have, like animations, arrows, buttons, backgrounds, buildings, nature, other, and people. You could choose any one of these. I'm going to choose backgrounds. So I'm going to click on it, and then in here, some boxes will start to fill up with some sample clip art. Another way you can access your clip art gallery is by clicking this house thing. If you click it, it will also take you to the same page. So to add clip art to your work area, what you're going to do is we're going to need to reintroduce our set shape command. So let's just look at what that does again. So if I hover over, it says set shape sets the shape of the turtle. So to set the shape of our turtle, the first thing we need to know is the turtle's name. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click, and it says the name is T1. So now in front of set shape, we're going to go T1, comma, set shape. And then to determine which clip art you put in your work area, all you're going to do is look in the left-hand corner at the little numbers in the circles. Again, you can really pick any one of those. I like 8 today, so I'm going to go with 8. So together, it's going to be T1 set shape 8, enter. And now my background is filled with lovely trees. So now, sorry, I'm just looking at what we have to do next. Right, to import clip art into your work area, you're going to go to an empty box. Any empty box is fine. And you're going to click it, and you see how there's a little plus button in the corner. You're going to click on that, and this should open. Now, there are 2 ways to really do this. The first way, for the lucky people, is you're going to copy and paste your URL into this little box here, and you're going to hit create, and your clip art should appear in whatever box you clicked on. I'm less lucky, and according to a lot of people that I've talked to, they also are less fortunate, so we have to do it the long way. So the way that I import my clip art is, first I start off by downloading the clip art to my computer. Then I hit select, which will open my files. After that, I'm just going to search for the file. So I'll use my bed clip art. I'm going to hit open, and don't worry if the link doesn't look like how you remember it looking. It's totally fine. It will still work. Now that you have your link in here, you're going to hit create, and your clip art should appear in the once empty box. So now I'm going to add a turtle to my work area, and we're just going to add this bed into our work area. So let's see, the name of this turtle is T2. So we're going to write T2 set shape, and the number of this clip art is 20. So T2 set shape 20, enter, and the bed is there. But when you're making a background, you always want everything to feel in place. You want it to feel like it belongs. And right now, this bed does not belong. It's gigantic. So this is when we introduce the set size command. I like to think of the set size command as set shapes right-hand man, because they always sort of go hand in hand. Let's look at what the set size command does. So it says set size sets the size of the turtle. The original size is 40, and the minimum and maximum sizes are 5 and 160 respectively. This is very useful information to know. This means that right now, this bed, the size of this bed is 40. Anytime you put clip art into the work area, the size will always start off as 40. So if you wanted to make something smaller, you go for a number less than 40. If you wanted to make something bigger, you go for a number more than 40. Since I want this bed to be smaller, I'm going to go for something less than 40. So I'm going to put T2, set size, and let's go for half of 40, so 20. To me, that's still a little big, so I'm going to go down to 15. Still a little big, so I'm going to try 10. To me, that looks perfect, so I'm going to leave it like that. The set size command is a bit of trial and error, like coding in general. Do not be afraid of guessing and checking. That's the fun of it. And so the last thing I'm going to teach you guys today is how to freeze things in your work area. Freezing is so important. It saves you a lot of time on mistakes that you might make commonly. So let's say you want to move this bed to the other side, but you accidentally end up clicking the background and moving it. There's no point in trying to drag your background back into place because it's never going to be exactly how it was. And sure, you could just hit your undo button, which will solve all of your problems, but there's a much easier way that saves time. So to freeze, basically what you're going to do is you're going to right click on whatever you want to freeze. So I'll freeze my background. So I'm going to right click, and then you're going to go down to this checkbox that says frozen. You're going to click it, and then you're going to hit apply. And now when I try and drag my background, it should not move. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm clicking and it's not moving. Oh, that's the bed. And so now I'm going to do the same thing with the bed. Right click, down, frozen, apply, and it's completely still. So I like to use freezing when I already have a perfect idea of how I want my work area to look. With that being said, if you wake up the next morning and you're like, no, I want this bed to be on the other side of the room, that's totally fine. The same way that you froze it, you can unfreeze it. So to unfreeze something, you're going to right click, you're going to go back down to our checkbox, you're going to click it, and you're going to apply, and now your bed is movable. So again, I'm just going to give you guys another 2-minute break just to mess around with what I've taught you. After the break, Kumiko is going to take over and lead you guys to the rest of the webinar. Again, chat is always open for questions.
Great, Naya. I'm going to play some music. If anything went too fast or you'd like it repeated, we are happy to answer your questions while we listen to some music. And I'm going to get to writing, Lisa. I'm glad a couple people are asking about text. That's awesome. Okay, I hope you took advantage of that coding time and did a few more buttons, or maybe added a few extra clip art. As you can see, I've been following along as well with Naya's wonderful instructions. I have added some clip art, I have some buttons, I put a background image, and I'm starting to want some text, as some of you are too. I want to add some words to my story. So we can see that, just to review, if I right click, this is my T2 that I use the command set shape to create. I've added a button to my project as well, and I have used set size to play around with some of these different commands and different sizes of my clip art. And so let's keep going from there, and let's add text. And there's a couple different ways that you can add text to your project. If you're learning, when you code, it's a lot of problem solving, and it's a lot of figuring out multiple ways to do the same thing. So we're going to go to the plus button. Oh, I just noticed this little red dot in the save button is reminding me to save my project. It's always risky saving your project when you're screen sharing, but it worked. And I'm going to go to this plus button. And then below turtle, which Naya was using, there is text. So I'm going to click that, and you'll see this text box, this white block will enter onto your screen. I'm just looking over at my monitor here to follow along. And I can move this text box by clicking the words text one at the bottom. I'm sure many of you right now are trying to drag and drop your text box by clicking anywhere, but you need to click the label underneath the text box. And that's where you'll have control over where it is positioned. And you can choose anywhere you want. And to just build on some of the things that Naya taught us, you can right click, and you can freeze your text box as well. And you can also change the name as the label, or you can not show the label. So for me, later on, I'm not going to show it. So I'll leave it text one for now. And I'm going to put in some sample text. I know when you're writing content for your games and your stories and your project, you usually need some quiet time to think creatively. So I'll just put sample text there, and I'll show you that if I highlight it, I can bold the text, I can make it bigger, I can center it, all the things that we're very familiar with from Google Docs maybe, or Word doc, or whichever word processing tool you use at your school or your home. I can change the font. So yeah, there's a few options. It's not limitless. So I'll show you some other ways to add text a bit later on as well. When I'm happy with my text, I might want to test out what it looks like without that white background. So again, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click transparent. If you see the little button there, right under on top of frozen, and then I'm going to click apply. And then my sample text looks like it seamlessly fits over top of my background, and it's there for me to continue to change if I want to, or if I ever decide I want to move it again, I can change my mind and decide to put it over here. As coders, we have control over what we create and the way things look, and we can change our mind as we go. So anything you do today, I invite you to play around and yeah, to do it at your home, or play around after and change your words. The next thing that I'm going to do is show you a little bit about adding your own text using the Flaming Text app, because I saw that in the chat. So Naya graciously showed us how to add our own clip art. And that is one thing that we are going to do here as well, so that we can add our own titles to our projects. So if you see, let me just move my menu bar out of the way. This is the Flaming Text site that I put in the chat. And this is how you can make your own text. So let's say I want to call this project. Again, I'm not thinking the most creatively on the spot, but we'll type in here my story, and then I'll get a bunch of cool different options for text. So I'm always prone to the pink and purple, the Hackergal colors. So I'll click there. And then one of the most important things when you're using this site is to click edit logo, so that you can make it transparent in the background. That's so important when we're adding text to our projects so that they don't have that white block, just like with those text boxes. So I'm going to click transparent, and then I'm going to click next. And, you know, there's hundreds or thousands of different options for that text box, but this is one way that you can do it. And I can tell it's transparent because it has those gray boxes in the background. Let's see if I'm lucky. I'm going to try and copy this image. And Manaya was talking a little bit about unlucky, or lucky people. If I right click on this box here, or sorry, I just left click actually, and maybe on a Mac, it's just one click, and I press Command V, it did work. It's my lucky day. It added the text you can see right here at 21. I'm wondering if anyone in the chat knows or would like to take a guess of what command I would use to put this clip art onto my project page. If anyone knows, I would love to see it in the chat. And let me know if there's any questions. Yes, and I see one question about if it's possible to make text accessible to speak. There's a ways to add both sound in here, and there's a way to use the command say or say as that will help to the computer to read out loud the text that is on your page. Let's check if there's any more information on that in the help button on the bottom left. I'm going to type in say and see. If I'm lucky, it will come up. Say or say as. So this tells me a little bit about how those commands work, or when they're not working, why they might not be working. And here we have object names and say as. So there's a couple different options. And a tip is actually on YouTube. There's a little tutorial that we put up there using these commands. But say and say as are two really great ones that will help you turn your text into speech. And yes, I'm kind of checking back in the chat. We have Rowan, and Keely and Selena and Stellan. You've got it. I need to do set shape. But actually, there's one thing I'm missing before I put set shape in there, and it is my friends, a new turtle, because I want to make a new text. And I can see that some of you even know the abbreviation. So I have this turtle here. I'm going to put it at the top, and then I'm going to, as Naya taught me, to talk to that turtle to make sure I call it by its name. When I right click, I see that this turtle is T3. So I'm going to click apply, and then I'm going to do T3, comma, and then I'm going to type in, as my lovely friends have told me, set shape, and then the number, which in this case is 21. Let's see how big it is. Oh, that's pretty massive. I'm going to delete this one for now by right-clicking and pressing this so that this can be center stage. If anyone tells me in the chat, how can I change the size of this text so that it's a little bit less dominant on the page to our eye? Anyone know? Yes, you got it. Set size, and I'm going to do, let's try 30. Oh, it says, actually, I don't know how to T3, comma set. Can anyone see or spot the bug that is in my code and be able to help me? And I'll type it into the chat as well, so if you can hear the code that I typed in as well. Okay, so there's a space. You're right, there's a space and there shouldn't be. Let me try that. And it still says, I don't know how. And someone is saying space. Do you mean to add more spaces here? Still getting the same message. Any other folks giving me a little bit more direction after the comma? Let's see here. My only comma is there. Oh, I notice immediately that this command turns green. Very cool. And then I'll press enter, and yes, it worked. For those of you that haven't used set size before, 160 is the maximum and 5 is the minimum. So you have a bunch of sizes to range, to play with and to have as a range. I'm going to pause there. The next thing we're going to do, because it looks like we're going on time, is we're going to have time to learn how to turn a turtle into a custom button. But I'll give you a few minutes to practice what you've learned and to ask any questions if you want in the Q&A. And I'll put on our jazzy beats. Checking if the save command is in here as well. Here it is. Put this into the chat for those of you that wanted to learn a little bit more about this. And I'll pause the music for a second because someone asked about changing the background color. I'll give it a chance, Naya. If you want to answer, you can, or I'm happy to do it. Just let me know. If you turn on your camera, I'll let you have a go. And if not, I can happily demo over here.
Yeah, sure. I'm just not
Okay.
sure if it's like background color of the work area or like the.
Let's
The
try out the
text.
work area first. Yeah, good question. It could
Okay.
be the turtle as well. And I'll keep my screen sharing, but you let me know how to do it.
Okay. So first we're gonna try our help widget, which is very resourceful. And we can just type in, I'm gonna type in background, maybe, or color background.
Let's try adding background images. This might be more color. Yeah, this is more pictures. That's good to know if anyone wants to do that. Maybe try color. How to change the turtle's color. That'll give us some different colors here. The help button doesn't have everything, but I'll see if we do. Let's try this one, set BG, and then if you can hover over it, maybe this will give us a hint.
Yeah, so if you hover over it, it says, it sets the background color for the page. So it also shows an example at the bottom, so like set BG 18. And as you guys saw before with like the changing the color for the turtle, it also showed a color chart. And I don't know if Kumiko, yeah, can pull that up again. But if you go down, it's kind of hard to see. Oh, there we go. You can see the little numbers at the bottom. And so these numbers determine which colors you want to use. And so whichever color you want to use, that's the number you're going to put beside set BG.
Thanks, Naya. So I'll try 119. That's a nice purple. I love it. 45. And I actually just noticed a little hint I'd never seen before that said the brightest colors end with 5. So that's interesting. A cool tip. Let's see if it's true. 65. Yeah, that is bright. That'll wake you up. There we go. Okay. Thank you so much, Naya. Any other questions? You came late. How do we get to it? Yeah. So anyone who came late, you can come to our links website. Lucy will put it in the chat, and you're welcome to follow along with us in the next step. So looking at the time, I think we'll give everyone one more minute, and welcome, Rebecca. I'll give you a minute to get to the website, and then we'll go from there. And Bronwyn, your question about adding text, inserting the text you made. So there's 2 different ways. One is if you right click on the text from the website and you do copy image, then you go over to your links clip art pane where there's the house. And then you click on the box you want it to go in, and then you write, oh, sorry, what you do is actually 2 different things. On a Mac, it's Command V. On a PC, it is Control V, I believe. So I'm going to hover over top of 22. I'm going to Control V, and you see my same text appears. So that's how you insert it into your program. And if you'd like it to actually be added to the page, I'll quickly demonstrate that as well. So you can add a turtle. We need to talk to the turtle by going T4, comma, set shape, and 21. And then we have our beautiful text on the page, and I will put that in the chat. Always double check, because your turtle might be T4, or T5, or T6, depending on kind of how much you've added to your project. Great, so that is answered. Amazing. And Stella, and I believe your question is about the events, and we're going to talk about what events are coming up after this as well. Okay, well, I think we're on a roll, so let's keep going. Let's add turtles as buttons on links. So let's say this is my story here, and I would like to add a button that goes back. I'm going to apply and kind of build on what Naya has taught us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another turtle, just our handy little reliable friend, and I'm going to put my button in the corner. Right now, this turtle is just a turtle, but we're going to transform it into something super cool, and then we're going to click it so that something super cool happens. So we need to write our procedure. Can someone tell me what I put at the beginning and at the finish of my procedure? Does anyone know what are my two, I like to think of them as hamburger buns, sandwich bread, Oreo cookies with the middle inside? What are those? Yes, Stellan, to and end. Awesome. And those are what I'm referring to in a procedure, or some of you know them as functions. They always have a beginning and an end, because right now we're telling the computer, we're about to teach you something. Get ready, strap in, buckle up. So now we're going to go to, and what I want this to do is go back a page. So I'm going to call it back _ page. Procedures always need to have one word. They need to be one word, or it becomes confusing. And I'm sure that's how we'll encounter bugs in the future. And I'm going to type prev page. This is a command that if I hover over top, it displays the previous page. And as I mentioned, there's two ways to do things. So this will work. The other way is the way Naya taught us, which is just using the name of the page 2 or page 1. So I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to attach. So what's important to know is that this procedures pane is deeply connected to this work area, and they need to communicate. So when I right click on that turtle, I'm going to go to on click, because I want something to happen when I click, just like all the buttons that we click on websites and apps that we use every day. And then I see the name of my procedure here. I attach it and I click the big turquoise apply button. And now I'm going to test it. That's a huge part of coding, is testing the turtle. And it worked really quickly. I hope you're all applauding me in the background. And now I can go back and forth. But you're saying you promised me a pretty button, not just a turtle. So let's add some clip art to this using all the knowledge that we already know. So I'm going to go to the plus, and sometimes you can find images online. I've already found mine behind the scenes, like a cooking show. I prepared my ingredients before this presentation, and I'm going to go to my images folder, which has some buttons that I can use. And maybe I'll click this button here that I know. Actually, that might not be the right one. I'm looking for my learn more button. Let me scroll a little bit. Anything can be a button, really. There's not really any wrong thing. And if you were at the event earlier, you heard Libby talk about Easter eggs. Easter eggs are like hidden little buttons. So that could also be a button too. But I'm going to do this one. I'm going to click create, and then it appears into my clip art pane. And we are pros now that we know we need to look at the turtle name, talk to our friend the turtle, type set shape, and do 22. And now my magic turtle becomes a button that actually looks more like something that we intuitively would like to click. And I'll copy this into the chat as well. So let's test it out to make sure everything's running smoothly. My buttons are working. And now I'm going to do the final step that I like to freeze my procedures, freeze my turtles, I should say, freeze my buttons to make sure that no one can come on and move everything that I have created. So I'm going to pause there, and we're right on schedule to ask any live questions as we go. I'm going to pull up the Q&A to see if I missed any along the way, but I think we're on track. So let us know if you have any questions. So far, we've tackled our whole agenda in record speed, and we have about 5 minutes to spend coding and asking questions. Let me know if there's anything else you want to know, and I'll play our beats in the background. Thanks, Lucy. And I'll save my project as I go. Okay, yes, the command, maybe someone else in the chat can help. Olena, what is the command that takes you to that previous page? A hint is that it's somewhere on my screen, but maybe someone in the chat can help her out. Yes, that's what community is all about, helping each other out. Just like Danelle said today, help each other out. That's amazing. Thanks. Good teamwork. I think this music is making us all extra smart. I'm gonna add another piece of clip art here. Let's see if this works. Awesome. Any other coding questions? Okay, because we have time and because I think your brains can handle it, I'm going to do a few bonus tips. So one is, well, this is not bonus, is just please save your project because you've coded today, you've added new things. I don't want you to lose it. Another bonus tip is about this in front and in back commands. This is one or two of my favorite commands because they're really helpful as we add more and more turtles to our project. So I put a little turtle here and I'm going to add, let's see, maybe I'm going to add this Post-it note to my page. I'm going to go, it's T6 and I'll do our usual thing, set shape. And it is 24. And now immediately when I put this in, this Post-it note is kind of covering up everything that I have coded, all my other turtles. And the first thing I'm going to do is change the size, because this size is the biggest Post-it note I've ever seen, and they're supposed to be small. So I'll do set size 20. And I kind of like that size, but I wanted my character to be in front of this Post-it note. So I'm going to use the in front command. So I'm going to right click on the robot, who is T2. And then I'm going to use a command. Does anyone know this command? If you do in the chat, I'll be very impressed. Naya does, I'm sure, but anyone else as well. What command? And I'm going to give you a hint that it really often sounds like what it does. It sets the shape, it sets the size. I'm telling you, it will help things go front and back. So it's kind of a little hint there. Okay, no guessers today. Give you another second in case. Okay, fine, I'll tell you the answer. It is in front. And then when I click in front, supposedly nothing happens. You got it, Selen, but actually now it is in front. And just to prove to you that, I'll go in back and it disappears again, and I'll go in front and it brings it back. And then again, if I want to play with this turtle size, make my robot a little bit bigger so it looks a little nicer on here, I'll make it maybe, I'm not actually sure what size it is. Oh yeah, pretty big. Maybe I'll make 18. And now we have my little, I'm calling him a turtle because he's a turtle wearing a robot costume there. And just to layer on that text that we have, and something that we learned earlier is I can put text on top of this with a little message. Hello, my name is Robo the robot. And I'm going to bold it. I'm going to center it. And my magical final finale here is I am going to make it transparent. And now we have a little note and a Post-it note using everything that we've learned, how to add text boxes, how to add custom clip art, how to overlay things on top of each other, how to freeze, how to freeze. And now we have our project. So I'm going to press save. And I'm going to pull up our slideshow again. And that was so much fun. I can't believe we're already at 4:56. So I'm going to pull up our little reminders about what event is coming up next. And there's only one left. It's that time. So our last event for you is our live games night and closing party. I hope you will come after all this code, after all this heavy brain work. We'd love to have some fun. We've got trivia. We have a big raffle prize. We have more ambassadors that will be there behind the scenes. I think, Lucy, if you have the link, put it in the chat so people can join. You can see the passcode there, and we would love to see you. And Naya, if you're behind the scenes, come and give everyone a big wave. Naya said 3 months ago she was learning how to code. This is the first webinar that she's run with Hackergal, so I hope you'll all show her lots and lots of love. A big congratulations to you, Naya, and a big congratulations to everyone here for learning with us, for trying code, and for being part of our Hackergal community.